Hey friend, Roger Christofferson here again with I have no idea what I'm going to call this, but it's going to be me babbling about one of my favorite albums, and this is a once-in-a-lifetime chance to actually do this, and I'm still missing it because I've been sick as a dog, but I don't care, I'm still doing it anyway, even though it's a little late. I am babbling about already the Yes album, 90125, and the reason it's a once-in-a-lifetime event is because I was listening to this on the date September 1st of 25, 90125. I mean, I guess technically it's 090125, but I don't care. Close enough. Just one of my introductory albums to like music. It was my introductory album to Yes. I was very young when this came out, released in November of '83. I just remember kind of discovering rock music right around this point in time. You know, I'd gotten one of those boom boxes. I was busy taping stuff off the radio as much as I possibly could, and I remember, I'd never heard of Yes, but I remember when Wonderful Lonely Heart was played for the first time, and I heard that, and I had never heard anything like that at all, and I really liked that song a lot. I was just trying to figure out how to play guitar, and that line wasn't too hard to play, so one of the first things I learned how to play, one string, you know, was all it took to figure that out. But there's a lot more to that song, of course, to the album than that. But from that point on, I kind of went back and bought everything Yes had done. I think this is their 11th album at that point in time. I know for a lot of fans that had been, fans of Yes, for the earlier stuff, this was kind of quite a change of pace, and it definitely was. But at this point in time in my life, I didn't know it. Had Trevor Horn, who had previously been the singer on the previous album, Drama, doing all the vocals at first on this, didn't work at all, and he ended up producing it instead. And of course, a brief history of this, because I don't want to get into it, but Yes had kind of disbanded. Jeff Downs, who was in Yes at that point in time, left, went and formed Asia. Steve Howe went and joined Asia, so as far as the guys go, I think it was just Chris Squire, excuse me, dying, Chris Squire and Alan White at this point in time. They actually started working with Jimmy Page, I guess, which I remember vaguely, and I know they had a thing called XYZ, and I have some bootlegs from that, but I haven't listened to that in forever. So maybe after doing this, I'm going to go check that out. But that didn't work, so somehow they got in touch with Trevor Rabin. I think it had something to do with Mutt Lange being a friend, and hooked him up, and they started working on that music. Got Tony Kaye into the mix. They had actually, been recording an album that Johnny Anderson was actually the last one that came in. He worked on some of the stuff, and they just decided, instead of calling the band Cinema, which was what they were working under the working name Cinema, they went with Yes, because, the record company could produce it. Better that way, promote it, better that way. And of course the title, the album 90125, was just the catalog number that they were using. And it's funny because I have a demo tape of Trevor Rabin's, I can't remember if it was called 90124 or 90126, but it's all the demos he had before this. I'd looked into that, but as anybody knows, I don't prepare at all for any of this stuff, and this one I wasn't really planning on doing, but I kind of came to the realization what the date was, and I thought this was a really cool way to just babble about one of my favorite albums. So anyway, just hearing that initial song, went back and got Tornadoes. It's actually the next album I got. It was one of those cutout bins. I know, a strange way that I discovered Yes. I kind of went the most weird direction you could. I got that. I think Relayer was one I got after that. I remember Drama was one of the first ones, one of the first few I got, and then I kind of went back and got all the earlier stuff after that. Really huge Asia fan too, so that didn't hurt at all, because Asia, I think that album came out the year before, and so all that coming at me all at the same time was really cool. And so I got this album, of course, and I just listened to this. I can't even tell you, I actually just got the new remixed or remastered version this year not too long ago, and quite honestly I couldn't tell a whole huge difference in the remastered version that I just got from this one. But just listened to it again here a couple months ago, and I absolutely just love everything about it. And the more I listen to it, the more I like it. So it's not one of those albums I ever get tired of. But just putting it in. I remember actually taking this one on my senior trip, and I just listened to it on the bus the whole way. It was like an hour. I mean, it was probably about a 2-hour trip. That's 2 hours away. Went to a place up near Buffalo, New York, and I just remember sitting and listening to this whole album the whole entire time on my headphones, a little Walkman. Anyway, actually, it wasn't the senior trip. I was way too young for senior. It was some bus trip we listened to on that. Jesus, I can't remember what it was. But anyway, this is what happens when I babble. I go in too many different directions at once. But they had like a couple cool things on MTV. I remember the video for Leave It. I think it had like 11 different versions of it or something like that. And they weren't much different. It was almost all the same video, but just different versions of them upside down in one of them, and not different, guys in the video doing different moves at different times. But there was like, I think it was 11 different. I could be wrong on that. Somebody please fact check me on that one, because I'm not really positive. But a bunch of different versions of that. Of course, the video for Owner of a Lonely Heart was kind of interesting and unique. But just the sounds that these guys used at the time, the little stabs of orchestral stuff just in the middle, and the guitar sounds that Trevor Rabin used, was stuff that I don't think people were really doing at this point in time. It really, I think, influenced a lot of production techniques and styles. Love it or hate it, it really did. And the song, like Leave It, I think, if I remember correctly, that was built all on vocals first, and all the instruments were added later to the song, kind of a backwards way of doing things for them. But one of my favorite songs on the album, that Changes, is just probably my favorite song on the whole album. Changes, for some reason that song just like really hits a chord and just really, I don't know, just one of my favorite ones of all on the whole thing. But even the more lesser known songs, like, and they kind of leave them towards the end of the album, Our Song, City of Love and Hearts, every time I listen to this album I end up liking those songs even more and more and more. So this is my little shout out to Yes and this album, the influence it had on me and music, and discovering Yes and all the other bands that these guys were involved with, because of course I went back and got all the everything else that Yes related, when there's a lot of stuff. This is like the introduction for me. I don't know if it was for a lot of other people at this point in time, my age, probably, I would imagine so. Feel free to share any cool Yes stories you guys have. I actually got to see them once. It was a long time after this. I didn't get to see them at all on this tour. I didn't get to see them until way later, when they were doing the whole drama album. I forget what the name of the tour it is, but they had that one singer with them whose name is escaping me, Benoit something. Jeez, I can't remember his name, but he did the one album, I think, and didn't last very long. But that was of course, that was the one I saw him on, but unfortunately, the only time I ever got to see him. But anyway, feel free to share your Yes live stories if there are any. And I know one of my friends got to see them on the tour after this Union tour, and said it was one of the best shows he's ever seen. So, if anybody else saw them on this tour, what do you think of it? Ideas. Trevor Rabin's new album that came out this past year is amazing. So if you haven't heard that yet, check that out too. If you like this album, a lot of touches of that, and Trevor Rabin's new album's called Rio, original title. But anyway, that was really good. Of course, Shiny Anderson's stuff with the Band Geeks is really cool too. If you like the earlier Yes stuff with little touches and flavors of this in there, that's really good stuff too. I've done a couple reviews on those. I actually did reviews on both of those, and I'm thinking about it. Maybe we'll tag it at the end here so you guys can check those out. But anyway, babbling on longer than I wanted to, so please like, share, and subscribe to keep this music alive, because, I hope they're going to keep putting out new music. The stuff they've been doing lately has kind of got some mixed feelings from people, but I'm still going to buy it no matter what. So until then, we will see you.